here, back with another the Texas Chain Saw Massacre video, and today, guys, we're going to do our very first ever build for Johnny here on the channel. That is right, guys, you heard that correctly. A lot of you may not have even seen me play Johnny that much because I'm pretty much a Leatherface / Hitchhiker cook main, but behind the scenes, we have been doing a lot of Johnny work, and I wanted to get a build going, guys, that would be a post-patch build. So as most of you know, Johnny has been very, very broken before he was just recently patched. You could just butterfly swing around with easily tuckered out and scout, and you could keep up on the victims no problem because you use basically no stamina, because your attacks use no stamina and they lunged you forward. That has since been fixed. I wanted to get a build going that could still be viable post-patch because everybody that was a Johnny main especially was running that kind of build with the butterfly swings, but that's no longer. So we have a viable build here, guys, that I really, really like on this Johnny. Let's jump in. Let's talk about it. So first and foremost, guys, we got fired up. This build is basically surrounded around stamina and damage. So we got fired up going first. Most of you guys know what this perk does. This is probably one of the best family perks in the game. 90% less delay before stamina starts regenerating again. And it is a little bit miswritten here, guys, because you do not have to run out of stamina for fired up to activate. You basically just have to stop using stamina, and no matter where your stamina bar is, it's going to instantly refill. Fired up is great on Johnny. It's great on most family members. Again, probably one of the best family perks in the game. So coming over here, guys, we got Serrated. Now, we'll talk about Serrated in a second, but I want to get over here to Scout. Scout, again, as we've mentioned before, as most of you know, Scout is probably the best family perk in the game. You could use it on every single family member, and it's going to instantly make any of them better. That's right, you could use it on Leatherface, Cook, Johnny, Sissy, Hitchhiker. It doesn't matter. Scout is an amazing perk for each one of them, and it's going to give you 15% more speed at the cost of 10% melee damage at level 3. Again, guys, Scout's going to be rough at first. So you're going to want to try to level it as quickly as possible because at first you're going to lose 30% stamina, or should I say 30% melee damage, my apology, for a 5% stamina increase. So you want to get Scout to level 3, that's where it shines. Now, to kind of complement Scout a little bit, guys, here we have Serrated because we're losing that 10% melee damage. We have Serrated. It's going to hit for 1 HP every second for the next 5 seconds, and that's every hit that you're hitting the enemy. Serrated is a great perk as well, especially for Johnny. I do like Serrated on a lot of family members as well. I'd run it on my Sissy too. You could even run it with Hitchhiker or even Cook as well. Serrated is a great perk, and that's one thing I like about this Johnny and the skill tree, guys, because it does offer a lot of good perks, and it can work with a bunch of different loadouts with him, which we'll talk about as well. Execution really don't matter, guys. Most of the executions are about the same amount of time with him. I just like the first one. I just say go with whichever execution you like on Johnny. Coming down to attributes, this one's is also easy as well. Johnny is a killer, guys. In my opinion, he is the most savage killer in this game aside from Leatherface. I always call him the upstairs Leatherface, as Leatherface is in the basement, because Johnny is pretty much just almost as savage as Leatherface. So we're going to max out his savagery. We want to get as much damage as humanly possible. And coming down here, guys, we're going to use the rest of the points on endurance. We don't need to really level up endurance much further because we have fired up and Scout, which really comes in handy. Now, one thing this build is going to 100% lack, guys, is blood. You do not want to be going around looking for blood buckets. You don't want to be collecting blood. You don't want to really be, trying to feed Grandpa throughout the match. But if you need to, of course, go ahead. But blood harvesting is not going to be a thing with Johnny. So we're not going to worry about that. We're just worried about killing victims. Tracking and killing victims. So, with that said, how did we get this perks? Well, we're going to come over to the skill tree. And this one's pretty easy as well. So if you go over to the left side over here, that's where the easily tuckered out is. And this is what a lot of people were running for the infinite sprinting Johnny build. We don't need to run that. As you guys can see, I never really did the exploit, because I don't even have easily tuckered out even leveled. But we come down here to the right. And this skill tree, guys, this right skill tree for Johnny is some of the best I've seen of all the family members, because he has so many good perks on this right side that it gives you so many potential for multiple loadouts. So, we're going to come down here. We got activated right off the bat. It's a decent perk. If you get stunned, you do more melee damage. You can run that if you like. Over here, we got a random. This is going to be our Serrated. I do heavily recommend this perk on this build, so if you guys don't get it, you might just have to re-roll the tree until you get Serrated. And the main reason we come over here to the right, guys, is so we get fired up. It is a fixed perk in the tree. Again, we already talked about it. We're going to come over to the right side for fired up. And we're going to keep on going right here. Now, you don't have to keep going right. You can go up here mid-right, if you like. There's some good perks up here, too, as well. And one of the reasons I went right is because I really like Hysterical Strength. I'm working on a second loadout for Johnny that's going to include Hysterical Strength. So whenever you're about to run out of stamina, 15%, you're going to do 20% more damage at level 3. And again, he has been fixed, so he will now start to run out of stamina. And coming up here, we're going to stay all the way over here to the right. We got Dracula. You can run this one too if you would like, because Johnny is really good in a fight with victims. He is the best family member at that. So if that's something you're looking at, you can run that. I'm not a big fan, but you might be. Coming up here, guys, we got another random perk. This is where our scout comes in. Already talked about that. We already got all 3 of our perks that we're using just coming up this tree. Over here, guys, we have Excited Grandpa. Then we're going to come up here. We got Surgical. This is also a really good perk if you're trying to run some blood with Johnny, if you're trying to feed Grandpa. I mean, I really don't see much of a point in that, but if you're trying to feed Grandpa, Surgical could be good because at level 3 you're going to get double the blood for every hit. And we're going to come up here, guys, and we're going to stay right. We're going to get down the rabbit hole. This is another random perk. You could re-roll this for something else if you'd like, but it really didn't matter to me. We just went down the rabbit hole. But we may re-roll it one of these days to see if we can get a little bit of a better perk for another loadout. Coming up here, guys, we have Well. Now, this skill tree, guys, I will say one thing is terrible for Grandpa perks. So, if you want, if you want exterior alarms, if you want the tougher lockpicks perk, you're going to have to rely on one of your teammates to run them. And it shouldn't be a problem because most people are already running or have exterior alarms somewhere in their build, or the tougher lockpicks. Or Nobody Escapes Hell, I should say. It shouldn't be a problem. So just tell your buddies, hey, somebody needs to get exterior alarms in here, because honestly, guys, to get the best out of skill trees with these family members, sometimes you're not going to get exterior alarms on every single family member, and that's okay. That's why you have 3 family members. But yeah, so this build's not great for Grandpa perks, excuse me, but it shines everywhere else. So coming out here again, guys, you can go up here if you want. If you want to run Johnny and Family House, which I'm not a big fan of. I think Cook and Hitchhiker are definitely the best, the OGs in the Family House, but you can run Windom if you'd like. You can take this where they take more damage going out the windows. That's up to you, but other than that, I mean, there's nothing really great up this mid-skill tree except for big swings, which you could also go with too. I really like this perk as well, but it wasn't enough for me to want to take this tree. So that's our skill tree for Johnny, guys. We're going to come back here. We're just going to talk about his ability for a second. This one's pretty easy as well. We're going to go number 1 here, increases the ability recharge rate by 14. We're going to come up here, the detection range of clues left by victims increased by 30%. And then up here, the top perk, which is clues left by victims, can be analyzed 50% faster. So instead of having to kneel down, sniff your fingers, or whatever he does, lick his fingers, get back up and look for the footprints, you just stand there and quickly analyze them, and you're off to the races. So, pretty easy with his ability, his hunt ability. And this is pretty much a Johnny build in a nutshell, guys. I absolutely love it. It's a ton of fun. Johnny is not my go-to family member or my main family member by any means, but if I really want to get into a match and I want to get some kills, and somebody's already picked Leatherface, I'm definitely going to go Johnny. And where he shines, obviously, guys, I know a lot of you know how to play him already. I usually just hang out up top until Grandpa gets awoken. I'll close some crawl spaces, grab some blood if I have another family member that's not doing too good with blood either. I'll grab some blood, things like that. Basically, just wait around to get down into the basement. As soon as Grandpa wakes up, I head down to the basement. I start looking for footprints. I start tracking, and I start killing. But I will say, guys, you don't want to spend too much time down in the basement with Johnny, because as you're down in the basement, there could be victims upstairs potentially getting out, generator, battery side, fuse box, things like that. So just be aware when you're down in the basement. You don't want to be down there with Leatherface chasing victims around for 10 minutes while, you got a sissy upstairs or a cook upstairs trying to chase victims around the map. So Johnny can be very good. You just have to know how to use him. You got to be patient with him. But he will get a ton of kills. I see him as the mini Leatherface. Definitely second best family member in terms of savagery in getting kills. I've got tons of 4Ks with Johnny. It's just ridiculous in how much damage he can do and how good he is in chases, even post-patch. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, that is our updated Johnny build post-patch, which is still useful even after he's been fixed. Don't worry, guys. Johnny is still a viable family member. Just not one I'd take over Hitch, Cook, or Leatherface, but that's a different story for another day. But tons of fun nonetheless. So with that said, let me know what you guys think about this build, guys. How you have your Johnny built. My name's Sergeant Moose. I want to thank everybody for coming and hanging out, man. Tuning in. If you guys enjoyed the video, feel free to drop a like. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Take care, guys.